Hello, and welcome to Sunflower Garage. I'll be doing a parts unboxing today because I got my pieces that I ordered for my Triumph Rex over here, and we're going to put the fuel pump back on and hopefully reinstall the fuel tank, assuming that the parts I ordered actually came in. So I'm going to open the box right now. All right, well, let's see what we got. That's a lot of paper for not very much stuff. Let's see, did anything get back ordered? Let's hope not. And they claim it's all here. So here's my new fuel sending unit, which looks quite a bit better than the original. So let's get this open. Whoa, excuse me. New fuel sender, and let's see what else we got here. All right, got the new piece of rubber for the fuel tank going to the filler, and the new pads to go on the bottom of the tank so it doesn't rub on the body. So I'll get those installed today. You can see why the fuel leaked out of the top of the tank. The gasket has pretty much decomposed, I assume, from the fuel, but who knows, it may just be old. But I had put a new one on when I rebuilt the car, so I'm guessing it has something to do with the ethanol in the fuel, but couldn't really say for sure. So they don't, and this is full of fuel, which is of course a problem. Which is why I ordered a whole new one, because you can't just get the float, but the new one is not all corroded like the old one, so it should be a little better, we hope. All right, well, here we are. So I got a new circlip for this, for the fuel filler cap to retain this, because it was broken and flying off of there, but it's fixed now. So that's pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna put a little bit of chrome polish on that after I'm done with these other things. The fuel pump is ready to go. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on it before I reinstall it and put the gasket on, which is here. It's got a hole in it that you have to put the right way so that the return oil can drain out the bottom of the housing through that little hole back into the engine. And I got this high-tech gasket sealant, which is got all kinds of warnings on it, which means it probably actually works. So I'm going to use that. I'm also going to use that on the gasket for the fuel tank on the new sender. So I'll put this aside. Actually, now that I think about it, I think what I'm going to do first is put some paint on that so we don't have it just rust away. So I'll take that outside and give it a little blast of paint. And I'll leave that in the hole so that it doesn't, I'll put that in later. Ah, the smell of fuel. All right. I'm going to take that outside and give it a blast of paint. All right, so I'm back to working on the fuel pump. I had to take a break for a couple of days because I was getting ready for some gigs that I was in. But now I'm back to working on the Triumph. So I'm going to, what I've done here is, because the spring loading on the lever for the fuel pump was so strong that I was struggling to push the fuel pump into position and be able to get the nuts started without risking damaging the flange. So what I've done is I've compressed the spring, put a wire on it to hold it in position until I put it in the engine block, and then I'll cut the wire and pull it out once it's in there, when it's got just a little bit of space left. So that's ready to go back on the car. I'm using this high-tech gasket sealant, which must work good because it's got all kinds of warning labels and hazardous warning signs on there. So it must work. Since I'm sitting here, I'm going to put the fuel sending unit, the new one that I just got, right here to replace the slightly gross looking old one that has fuel in the float, which I could not order separately. So I just got a whole new unit and I'm just going to replace it. So that's what I'll do right now. I'm going to take this terrible looking blood red gasket sealant. It is fuel resistant gasket material, or fuel sealant rather. I'm just going to paint it on both sides. This particular type never dries, so it won't be difficult to remove in the future. Of course, it says that now, but it doesn't mean it's actually true. So get it on both sides of the gasket. It's very gooey, sticky stuff. Hence the gloves. So it's leaving little strings everywhere like spider webs. But the stuff does work amazingly well. So I'm going to stick that on the tank. Like that. The nice thing about this stuff is that it makes it so you can reposition the gasket and you don't have to worry too much about it drying into position. Look at this. It is a gooey mess. I think I will put on a different pair of gloves. Okay, well, those are shot. Okay, got this sending unit. I'm going to grab the screws, which I left in the trunks. All right, got the screws and the little grounding. This is the ground, what do you call this thing? You put the ground wire on it. I don't know what you call this separate thing, but it is a thing. So that's going to go on like that. I need to put a little bit of, you can also use this as a thread sealer, so I'm going to use a little drop. See how little of a mess I can make out of this, just because I don't want fuel to run up the threads.
float in there. Come on. Okay, there's so much goo that I can't see the hole in the gasket. Where are you? Little hole. Should be right there. Alright. Regroup on this and put the gasket on the sending unit first. Oh, I see the problem. Okay, so the screws are bigger than the holes in the gasket, so I'm just going to have to shove them through. And then into there. There we go. That's all sticky again, but that's okay. Tiny little bit of thread sealant. Pain in the ass than you would think. I'm going to do it like this. All right, let's try that again. I should turn that just so you can actually see what I'm doing. So, tightening down the screws to the flange, hopefully sealing this so it doesn't ooze fuel all over the place like it did with the old gasket. With any luck, I'll get this and the fuel pump back in and hopefully be able to start the car on this video, but I do have another gig tonight, so I don't know that I will get to it, so excuse me. You don't want to go too tight and then just distort everything and cause a warp that will leak. So, with any luck, I have not overdone it, which I have been known to do in the past. Okay. good. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna grab my multimeter and test the ground to the tank body and make sure it actually is grounding. All right, well, back to work. So what I've done here is I've painted where the paint was stripped off the gas tank. I've replaced the fuel sending unit. Now I'm going to test for conductivity between the ground tab and the tank itself, because if there's no conductivity, then there's no actual ground, so it's not safe. So check my thing here. So if it says 1, if it's an open circuit, it goes to 0 if it's a short. So I put this on the tab and the tank. And it's got conductivity, so it's safe. I guess I will also check that it's got it with the actual sending unit, which it does, so it's safe. Which means the tank is ready to reinstall. So I will put that back in the car and put the new fuel filler neck on, which goes up to the underside of the body, and then you put the fuel filler cap through the body into this neck, like that. So it does like that, passing through the body. So that's what I will do next there. And I also got a new fuel filter. So I'm going to put the new fuel filter on the car, new hoses, because the old hoses are rock hard. You can't even squeeze them. So I'm going to change all the fuel hoses and then hopefully fire it up. Pause for kombucha. And then I'll get going. And also put the fuel pump in, which I've flexed the lever that operates the pump, wired it to keep it in the up position until I get it into the car. Then I'll take the wire off to release it against the cam.